What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Round 5 tips already, but you know I'm going to do it. 8 from 8 last week. Partying all round. 8 from 8. Let's get into round 5. Hopefully I go 8 from 8 again, guys. If you missed it, go back and watch it. But, first game, Thursday night again. The Eels versus the Roosters. Roosters coming off a bye. Eels coming off that golden point win against the Panthers. I don't know, I've got to stick with the Eels. I think that we got the win last week. Get a bit of a roll on, a bit of momentum. Roosters are going to be tough, but I think where it's won is off the bench. Roosters hasn't got a strong bench where Eels do. Brendan Hand's off the bench. Come on, 20 minutes. That last 10 minutes of the first half, maybe get around Roosters' tired forwards because their bench, they don't have much size. They've got Corey Allen, who's a centre and winger. They got Turpin. So who knows? But yeah, I feel like Eels, if we get a roll on, they haven't beat the Roosters away in 15 years, which is a bit worrying. But I just feel like, I think the Eels might go on a bit of a run now that they've got a little bit of confidence after last week. We've seen all the stuff in the press again. Mitch signed last week. Yes, they're his boots. But yeah, so I think Eels will win 1-12. Let's get into the second game. The second game is going to be a good game. It's Friday night, Raiders versus Panthers. Now, we've seen the news of Whiten not taking up his player option for next year and wanting to see what other clubs are out there. So I think maybe that could be a distraction for the Raiders. You saw they lost last week to Newcastle. So I think the Panthers, after losing the Eels, will bounce back on this one. I'm going to tip Panthers 13+. I think Cleary will just put on a show after that 40-meter field goal. I was panicking. I was sweating. Woo. If you saw my game day vlog, you'd know. But yeah, go out, check it out on my YouTube channel. But I think Panthers bounce back. It's a shame that Sonny Luke won't be playing due to his 11-day concussion rule. He failed his HIA late in that second half against Para. But yeah, I just think with the news, Whiten's leaving. It's Isaiah Yo's 200th game, maybe. I think it's his 200th. Feels like it should be his 300th, but 200th game. So congratulations, Joey. Bad luck last week, but I'll see you around Penrith this week. But I think the Panthers will get it done. It's nice early Friday night, 6 o'clock. So moving on to the 8 o'clock game on Friday night at Accor Stadium. It's the Rabbitohs versus Storm. Now, I'm up and down about this one. I've written it down. I think I've written Storm down, but I think I'm going to tip the Rabbitohs. So I'm going the Rabbitohs. I think after their emotional win last week, got 1 point again. I think they'll get up. Storm, we saw the impact of Munster. I think he'll be in for a good game again, but I think Rabbitohs might just get him at home. So yeah, what's your thoughts? But moving right along, Super Saturday, we're back to 3 games. So the 3 o'clock Super Saturday game is Manly versus the Knights. Now, Knights had a good win last week against Canberra, but Manly, I think, will get it, and I think they'll put on a big score here, Manly. It's at home. No, Glen Willow. Where's Glen? Anyway, it's at Glen Willow Stadium. I'll have to look that up. Sorry, guys, I thought it was at Brookvale, but anyway, yeah, I just think Manly will be too strong for the Knights. I'm tipping 13+ on this one. Manly's $1.20. Wow. But yeah, Tommy T, they'll be fired up after the loss last week. So let's get into the next one. The next one's even hard for me as well. It's 5:30 at Wynn Stadium. Dragons versus Dolphins. Now I think this is the first time the Dolphins are traveling. I know a lot of the Eels fans are going to this game because they want to see the Dolphins play live. Before obviously we play them at CommBank later. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this one. Dolphins have got a lot of players out, but Marshall King's back. Dragons, I think with all the press they're getting, the coach is going to get sacked. Zach Lomax apparently is unhappy and wants a release. Hear that, Para? Yeah, I just think there's too much in-house politics going on. So I think that's Dolphins might actually scrape that one, get a win there against the Dragons. Now, the next one is a no-brainer. Suncorp Stadium, 7:30 on a Saturday night. Broncos versus the Tigers. So everyone's tipping Tigers to go 0-6 or 0-7. They got the bye coming up, so that's probably a good thing. But they play Broncos and then Eels on Easter Monday next week, and then they have the bye, I think. So I bet they're trying to get to that bye. They might pick up. Hopefully, they don't pick up a win because we're playing them next week. But I just think Broncos are going to be too strong at home. We saw them just get the Dolphins right at the end last week. But for me, it's going to be a big score, so I'm tipping Broncos 13 plus in this one. I think Reynolds is going to put on an absolute clinic. We've seen Walsh at the back, what he done last week. He was absolutely defensively perfect. Yeah, so Broncos. So that's going to be a good game. The next one is the Sunday games. So both Sunday games I struggled to tip. Can go either way. All four teams are off and on, up and down. But the first game's at PointsBet Stadium, and it's the Sharks versus the Warriors. Warriors are paying $4. Sharks paying $1.30. So I've got Sharks here because it's at home, and we saw Nico Hines last week absolutely come back and tear them to shreds. Dragons were woeful. Nico Hines just put on an absolute clinic, and Hines versus Johnson, it's going to be a good game, but I just think it's at PointsBet Stadium, so I just think Sharks are going to be too strong. A lot of people are saying Warriors, they're tipping Warriors, but I don't know. I just think Sharks will be way too strong for them. Which brings me to the last game of the round, 6:15 at Accor Stadium. You've got the Doggies versus the Cowboys. Now, this is where I struggled. We saw Warriors get Dogs last week. Saw Cowboys win. But to me, I've tipped Cowboys purely because although it's technically Dogs week to win. But yeah, I've gone Cowboys simply because of the experience. I know they're missing some players. I know Nene got suspended. But Bulldogs got Josh Reynolds back, making his return to the Dogs. Welcome back, Josh. Grubby, as they call him. I wish he came to Para before when he was going to go, when he went to Tigers. I think he was coming to Para, but would have liked him at Para. But yeah, Bulldogs through and through. I'm glad they're giving him a shot and not holding him back, and letting him retire how he wants to retire at the club where it all started. But to me, I think Cowboys will win this. Yeah, I just think Cowboys have got a little bit more experience. Bulldogs are still finding their feet. I know they beat Melbourne without Munster, and yeah, they got a good win against the Tigers. But for me, the last 20 minutes for the Dogs has to be better. Like those last 20 minutes, they in all four games, they haven't scored a point in the last 20. So that's concerning if I'm a Dogs fan, and I know a lot of people out there are. A few of my mates will give me shit for saying that. But anyway, I don't care. So, Cowboys for mine, guys. Yeah, I might actually go to that game, hopefully. Sunday night. See what happens. I'm going to try and get to a bit more other games other than Eels this year. And meet some of the other content creators around the NRL. Other than messaging them. So it'd be good to see them face to face. But let's recap. Let's hopefully we're popping more party poppers next week. I might get the big ones for every time I get perfect round. I might do a NRL card break. If you don't follow, I collect cards. You can see it all in the background. There's cards everywhere at the moment. I'm renovating this office. You might have seen my past videos. I was over there. Well, there's a little studio set up getting built over there so I can do this properly. Yeah, so a few rearrange. You can see I've got Mitch's boots there behind me, signed boots that he wore a couple of years ago against the Dogs game. Kicked 6 from 6 in them, so pretty happy with them. I've got a few other boots, so you'll see a few displays getting put up on this wall. But yeah, let's recap, guys. See, I go off in tangents. Sorry, guys, but so I got Eels over Roosters on Thursday night. Friday night, I've got Panthers to beat the Raiders, Rabbitohs to beat the Storm. Some of these are a bit calculating for Eels to move up a bit. Just saying. But on Saturday, I've got Manly to beat Knights, Dolphins to beat Dragons, Broncos to beat Tigers, and then on Sunday, I've got Sharks to beat Warriors and Cowboys to beat the Bulldogs. So let me know in the comments what you think, how many you think of them are going to get right, what you guys have tipped, what you've changed, what different tips you got to me. If you saw my video last week, I'll link it in the bio where I went 8 from 8. Yeah, but that's it. See you at the games. I won't be out there Thursday night, but you'll see me next week. You'll see me out and about at games. Come up, say hi. I'm going to have cards to give away at games, signed cards and stuff. So, yeah, let's get it. And at the end of the year, guys, remember, I'm going to buy someone a grand final ticket. One of my lucky subscribers, my loyal followers, I'm going to shout them a ticket to the grand final. No matter who's playing, let's go have a good night at the grand final. Watch some great footy. And yeah, peace out. Subscribe.